Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Okay, there's sweet and sour, a yin and yang, good and bad today. Let me explain what I mean. I'm looking this week at different kinds of psalms. And there's one group of psalms that are called imprecatory psalms. It comes from the verb to imprecate, is to judge, to bring into judgment. And these are very harsh psalms. And so I don't really like these psalms very much. I mean, I'm confessing, I'm being true. Psalms are wonderful because they express so many different ranges of emotions. And these are emotions I just generally don't like. I've got one of them, Psalm 58 is a well-known imprecatory psalm. I've got it up here on my computer. And this is one where the psalmist asks that the psalmist's enemies, that God would make them like the snail that dissolves into slime, that he would make them like a stillborn child who never sees the sun, that sooner your pots feel the heat of thorns, that he sweeps them away, that they vanish like water that just runs away. That he tears out their fangs like he would tear out the fangs of a young lion, that he just breaks their teeth in their mouth. I mean, this is in the Psalms. This is someone asking God to do this. And so part of me is just like, boy, I hate these Psalms. I hate looking at them. I hate thinking about them. Yeah, I understand there are evil people in the world. And yes, I understand that it's bad, but come on, all we are saying is give peace a chance, Ringo Starr, love, peace. I'm a kid of the 60s, and it just is really not fun to read these Psalms. Now, that's one end of it. The other end of it is, I can't wait to talk to you about Psalm 58, because it's just a really cool psalm, even though it's got all that yucky stuff, because it comes out of a lawsuit. See, the psalmist has gone to the judges, to the courts, lowercase gods, to the rulers of his day, and has sought justice. And rather than bringing justice, which is what judges in cases are supposed to do, a huge injustice was brought. And the judgment was the thumb was on the scales, if you will. It wasn't a fair judgment. And so the judgment went for the wicked people. And this is not something that is a rare occurrence. The prophets in the Old Testament often get upset because the courts were there for the rich and the wealthy to protect them, and not there for the impoverished. And so it wasn't a level playing field. It wasn't fair. It was one where the rich got rich and the poor got poorer. And God's judgment comes down because God is a judge of fairness and not of rank. So within the framework of this, the psalm begins, are you going to have given the right decree, judges or gods? Are you judging uprightly? No, you haven't. In your heart, you've devised wrong. You've purposely turned away from doing what's right and put your lot in with the people doing the violence. And so it's in the midst of this injustice that it stirs up within the psalmist this yelling cry of, God, don't let this go unnoticed. Don't let this just go on by. Justice needs to come forth. And if the human judges aren't going to judge fairly, then God, it's your job to judge fairly. And would you please do so? And so it's out of that spirit that comes this cry of frustration. Now, where do we land with that? Well, let me tell you where we land. Excuse me for that. That was a call that just came in. Let me tell you where we land with that, where I land with it. There are times where I am very upset, where injustice is done, where I cry out to God for justice to be met. And that's an okay cry. And there are times where people are evil and wicked and doing evil and wicked things, and we should try to stop that through prayer, through counsel, through actions, every way we can. But by the same token, we should never forget the admonition that Jesus brings, which is to pray for our enemies. I mean, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said the best way to get rid of an enemy is to turn him into a friend. Now, that doesn't mean we can always do that, but we need to always be looking to, in a sense, condemn the crime, condemn the injustice, condemn the wrong, and yet love and look for redemption for the one committing it. So I don't see the problem in praying and thinking through these Psalms like this. But we always need to do it with a heart of compassion, ultimately looking for justice and the ultimate good in the midst of all of this. So that's the imprecatory Psalm. That's the good and the bad. And that's your video thought for the day. Last set of Psalms that we'll look at tomorrow are what I call traveling Psalms. I'm pretty excited. They're some of my favorites. I'll see you tomorrow. It's your video thought for the day.